What's up? What's up?
Hey, James, how are you?
Good, good. Hey, you all, we're here with another episode of James Massey Live, where we interview an agent that's killing it within their marketplace in order to provide tremendous value to the real estate agent that's looking to grow and build their business and take things to the next level. I am here with Marsha. Marsha is one of my partners out in South Carolina. How's South Carolina nowadays?
South Carolina is great. I'm making the best of South Carolina. It's a great place to be.
Ah, love it, love it. So our topic today is accountability into the new year. One of the things that we always run into as far as people making all these goals and things that they're going to do in the new year, and by this time has already stopped doing it, and they moved on to the next thing. So, Marsha's one of those people like that sticks to a goal and hit her target. But let's kind of get into that, Marsha. But also before we get all the way into that, one of the things that you have done is you've been able to serve this country. Can you tell us about that a little bit before we get into like the whole accountability part?
Okay. Yes. As far as accountability, I, like James said, I've served the country in the Army. I'm actually retired from the Army, and I served for 22 years. So in that service time, I have learned leadership. I've learned accountability. I've learned how to uh, always use integrity in all things that I do. So when it comes to accountability, I have mastered. I would say that I've mastered that thing of being accountable for myself and holding others accountable, which is something that I've brought into my real estate career as well.
Love it, love it. So I know like you have some mentees that you've been able to coach in real estate and get them to closing their first deal and second deal and third deal and things of that nature. What are some of the things that you've done to actually like keep them or get them on the right path?
Yeah. So with that, especially with new agents, you always have to. I try to remind them that when it comes to real estate, this is one of the careers or one of the industries where you can literally take yourself to um, whatever desired level that you want with the proper tools, the proper mentoring, the proper coaching, um, just training itself. So it is up to you and your mindset how you move forward and take yourself to the next level. And with that being said, you always have to keep in mind that in the real estate industry, you're actually an entrepreneur. This is your business that you're building. So I always remind them to not always look at what the other person is doing. Do what it is that you need to do. Don't always keep looking for that next shiny object because once you get it in your hands, it may not be as shiny as you think it is. So you have to do what you have to do that works best for you in order to take yourself to the next level in your business. So that's one of those things where you have to, when you say mind your business, you really have to mind your business when it comes to this industry. I am, there's, I think there's a lot of truth to that old adage that we've heard before. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And you may have heard me say it before, others may have heard me say one of the things that I've gotten from being in the military, we look at that as we have those 6 P's. And those 6 P's, we look at it as prior, planning, prevent, pist, or performance. So with that, again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You always have to have a plan. Um, a lot of people lean on their faith as well, and even as myself, I am a big believer in faith, but at the same time, I look at experience, and experience tells us that planning and then taking action, those are the keys to delivering the results. So on a daily basis, regardless of if you're new in real estate or if you've been at it for a long time, you always have to stay fired up and stay ready to start taking the right kind of action right now so that you can deliver the kind of results that you're looking for, the results that you dream of. And when I say those right kind of action for right now is because real estate is just like with any other business and in the world, they're continuously evolving. Things are continuously changing. So when those things change, you have to change along with it. Sometimes you have to modify that plan that you already have, so that way you can keep up with the market and keep up with what's going on in the world itself. Uh, with my mentees, the first thing I look at is uh, everything starts with a vision. What it is that what it is that you want. So one of the things with any successful business, it starts with that vision that you have for your business. What is it that you really what do you really want, and why do you want it? And the why is what keeps it exciting. So the first thing I have them to look at is you want to evaluate where you are in relation to your goals. So uh, and then saying that it's harder to hit a moving target. So when you're crystal clear about what you want from life and what you want in your career and your business, once you've done that math and that you can kind of define the activities that you need to do to realize those goals, that clarity that you have, it helps you pave the way for yourself. Um, Sometimes I like to use the analogy of a puzzle. So the illustration of the puzzle that I use. So if I were to ask you what's the most important piece of the puzzle, of a jigsaw puzzle, and a lot of times some people may say, it's the corner piece. So when you take the corner piece, you take the corners, you work your way in. Some people might say the center piece. You take the center, put it there, and you work your way out. And for me, I feel, and this is just me, I think that the most important piece is the cover of the box. And I say that because when you look at the cover of the box, it shows you the end result of that puzzle.
Mm.
So when you look at the end result, now you look at what that end result looks like before you can implement a plan of how to get to that end result. So you always have a vision of what you're trying to get to, and then you plan and take the necessary steps to get to the end result. Um, and from there, you can create your business plan, and every business and you always want to have a business plan. And that's not just in business, that's even in your personal life. You always have a plan for what you're going to do for that year. So you talked about people having those New Year resolutions or what they're going to do for the year. It's not just in business, you're going to have that for your personal life as well. You write out your plan for your finances, your family budget, and things like that. And if you have a family of children, where you going to take your children this year as far as for school and getting them prepared for beyond. So you know those things. And when you with this business, of course, in real estate, when you make a that business plan, some of the things you got to look at is what income level are you trying to get to. So I know early in my real estate career, I've actually had people ask me like, how many houses do you want to sell this year? And then I would throw out a number, but later on in my career, I realized that it's not about how many houses I want to sell or how many listings. If I look at what income level am I trying to get to? So if I look at what income level I'm trying to get to, and then I'm going to look at, so once you get that, what's your average commission that you're looking for on either side, the listing side or buyer side? Um, so from either side, what is your desired income? And I've looked at and I've seen somewhere where it says, 75% of your income should come from the listing side. That's something I've read and been trained on. And then 25% from the buyer side. And then, and this is all part of the business plan. What percentage of the listings you end up selling? And then how many listings you need to get per year to get to that end goal.
You coming across a little bit low, Marsha. Can you I'm not sure why.
Okay. Um,
That's better.
okay, I guess we move it. So I mean, then how? So then you're gonna look at how many listings do you need to get per year, how many listings you need per month, how many listings appointments do you need to get one listing, uh, the number of listings per month, you know, just and then how many appointments per week, how many people you need to call, making those appointments. So once you get all those numbers, um, you know, here's this you're going to take that on for the next 30 days. So a lot of people look at, okay, what am I going to do for the year? I would say first take it on for the 30 days at a time. Take on uh, and then commit to those things for 30 days. Then once you do those 30 days, you take on the next 30 days after that, then 30 days after that. So when we try to take on goals for the whole year at a time, uh, it sometimes you can lose sight of what has to be done because you're looking at this big window. So then your goals kind of start falling by the wayside because you're trying to take on too much. And I would say take on 30 days at a time. So when you take it on, and then bite-sized increments, you can kind of reach your goals a little bit better that way because you're not trying to take on too much at the same time. And then when you take it on 30 days at a time, you have more of a sense of urgency. So when you have that sense of urgency, it's like, okay, I only got 30 days to get this done. So let me get these, you know, take these necessary steps to get there. And then you're going to take it on, and then you take the next uh, 30 days, and you keep going that way. And by the end of the year, you can look back and say, hey, I've accomplished all these things because I've taken it, a little bit at a time. So, you know, the other things that I've been talking to my mentees about too, and one of the things I found helpful for myself is using visual aids. Uh, those things you can have your charts and your boards, your whiteboards that you keep up with your progress on using those visual aids. So, and even with that, when you know where you are every morning when you get up, when you hit that ground running, you can make the necessary adjustments that you need to either increase your activity or just stay the course of where you are. Uh, and then, yeah, so that's some of the things that I've mentioned to my.
I mean, I love it, man. Like, I mean, you had a few things that you just totally rose to the top. Like, one of them was about the puzzle piece. Like, because I heard the same thing. You want to start from the edges of the puzzle and then work your way in. You start from the middle and work your way out. But you was like, no, you want to start from the box. I was like, whoa, from the box, because the box is like it tells you what it's supposed to look like. It tells you, and really with anything, like you got to start off like you pretty much set in the beginning, from the end. Like you have to have your end in mind whenever you're starting something. Otherwise, you don't even know what it looks like if you get there. Like you don't even know where you're going really. Like I'm just thinking like if I'm trying to go somewhere, this is back in the days when you used to have maps, right? You had to pull the map out and you have to identify where you're trying to go to first, and then you have to find out where you are, and then you have to travel around and figure out what it's going to take to get to where you want to be at. I mean that whole statement there was like huge what you said. Um, I mean, I know you, like I said, I know you've helped, so many of your mentees to be successful. Like, the vision part of it is something I actually say to the people that I'm talking to as well. You got to have something that you look at on a regular basis. Um, so what are some of the like so for somebody that right now they're in this market and they're looking at it and it's shifted. Everybody's gloom is me. The interest rates are high. Inventory's not there. Whatever. What are some of the stuff that you're doing to make adjustments right now in this market in order to make sure that you're making your sale?
Okay, so some of the things that you mentioned here with the interest rate being high and the inventory and things being low, those things can sometimes be distractions, and it can be discouraging to some. So what I say is, like I was saying earlier, you have to be able to shift with with what's going on. And when I say that's why I was saying things are always evolving, things are always changing, and you have to have the right tools, the right training, and things to to move with it. So there's always uh, you always say, like I said, this is your business. You're an entrepreneur. So every day that you get up, you have to look at yourself and say, hey, okay, this is what's going on out there. I cannot let this distract me. So what do I need to do to be able to keep up with it? So you have to continuously get educated on what's going on. Um, if the if you're looking at the interest rates, what's going out there, keep up with that and see what's going on with it on a daily basis. And then you have to maneuver and change your plan of action to fit those things. So like myself, although I know that buyers may be a little low because of the interest rates right now, or the inventory is low for sellers. So there's still people out there that want to buy, and there are still people out there that want to sell. So you just have to be able to find those people, and the way you find that is, uh, you know, when I look around, I see new builds going up every day. So when I see those things going up every day and in every corner, I say, okay, well, this market is not slowing down, so somebody must be buying something. So then I started to look at the new builds out there, and I started to uh, kind of market in that direction. So now I still have, you know, closings and deals coming on the table because now I've shifted my focus. So don't always let those things be a distractor, and then don't listen to the detractors out there, because you're gonna have people in your ear saying, "Oh, this is what's going on," even in the media, looking at the news or things like that. Don't keep those things in your mind, like you know the negative things. Always look for the positive, because there's a positive in everything. So just look for those things that's gonna keep you going, and it's not always going to be comfortable. And in business, in any business, everything is not going to be comfortable all the time. So um, if it's a discomfort in there, you may be on the right track, because if you're looking for the easy, that might not be the way to go. So you just have to get down and dirty in it.
Love it, love it. So I mean, like you said, the new construction is out there. You just pretty much looking over, and you just looking up the whole situation of what's happening. Like real estate is going to be sold no matter what the market is. Even like the worst markets in '07 and all that other stuff. Like people still were buying houses. I mean, '08, '09, people still buying houses. It depends on if they're going to buy it with you, because like making those adjustments. Like, you're looking at your area and you see that new construction is still popping up. Well, okay, well, I'm just going to become the new construction agent. I'm going to make sure that my buyers know that they can get a brand new home and they're going to know all about it. But then all of a sudden, you got deals going. How many deals you got going on right now? I mean, how many, here it is in January. What is like, what do you got under contract now?
Right now, I have four new construction on the table.
Love it.
Right now.
Love it. So
Yeah.
so here we are like in the beginning of the year, and where most people like quote unquote slow or all this other stuff because of your mindset of like, I'm not listening to the news, I'm not listening to what these other people are saying, I'm gonna make an adjustment. And like you got four deals on the table and it's only January
Yeah.
or February for the first part of February.
Yeah, but it all started in January. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only that, not only new construction. I mean, there's a number of ways, to jumpstart that. There are for sale by owners out there. People are looking to trying to sell their own home. So you can speak with those people and see where they are in their progress. So I would say, and this is something I teach to my mentees as well. If you were to call and speak to, I would say you can literally speak to 100 for sale by owners in a month time. If you take the time to call even 3 to 5 a day, um, I would say in 30 days time, you're going to have a few listings out of that. Not even, and not just that, you got expireds out there. You have expired listings that happened last year. So, you know, I look at the expires, it's like the fruit. They're usually ripe for the picking.
Yeah.
They they already see the value in working with a realtor because they've actually dealt with a realtor before. It just for whatever reason that listing expired, and they've already learned some things from their listing that they had before. And then you also, you can deal with the FISBOs and the expired. So, um, look at the ones that been out there for the last 3 to 6 months. So this is another source of leads that you can, it's not normally on a lot of agents' radar. Uh, some people, oh no, well, I'm not going to do the FISBOs because you're looking for those. They might get rejected. So even with talking to them, uh, you're not always going to look for the yes or the no. You're actually, that's the same thing with prospecting. Don't look at, well, I might get a yes or I might get a no. In that, you're looking to build a relationship. And even if you get a yes or a no from them, if they're not ready, they may refer other people that are ready. So don't look at that as a negative thing. So you always want to try to build a relationship with people. And then you have houses out there that's for rent. You can also contact landlords for that because not that's another thing that's not on everyone's radar too. So a lot of investors are that I've found are actually part-time investors. So they don't have some of them don't have the financial means to really carry out vacant properties. So in that case, when a property is empty, they're bleeding for cash. So you can start calling them and then ask them about the house and what the makeup of the house. Then ask them that ultimate question, like if you had a buyer that would be willing to purchase that property at the right price, would you be willing to sell that house rather than keep renting it? Because again, if they're part-time renters, investors, and the property is empty, you know they may not have the cash on hand to actually keep it going. So then you have those. And then a lot of, I see, especially new agents, or even seasoned agents, they've gotten away from um, the cold calling, because they have that fear of calling and things like that. But in that case, you have to do what you got to do, and sometimes you just have to get out of your own way. And like I said earlier, some things not always going to be comfortable. You have to sometimes you have to take that uncomfortable road, that bumpy road, to get where you got to go. Um, but those are some of the things that I look at, and then also you can host uh, open houses, and it doesn't have to be your listing. You can host an open house for another agent, and you get your face out there and get known that way. And again, that's other ways of getting.
Marsha, what about the agent that says like I tried all that stuff? Because I mean, because I talk to a lot of people, right? And they say, well, I tried calling for sale by owners. I tried calling expires. I tried doing open houses. It doesn't work, right? And then then on top of that, I call them like the agents that's they got a lot of I don't want us, right? And say I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want like what do you say about that whole thing? Because I mean, like I said, you're one of the people like you're gonna stick to it. Like you understand what needs to be done, but you got some agents that they what I say quit too soon. But what do you say? What do you say about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I was saying earlier about those things being distractors, because you're not always going to get a yes. So you just got to keep going. I mean, if you get a no today, you might get a yes tomorrow. You might get 30 no's, but on that 31st one, you might get a yes. So you don't give up. That's where, when you fall by the wayside is when you give up. Because if you keep going and keep doing those things, one day that floodgate is going to open. It might not look good to you right now, but if you keep doing it and don't give up and say, you tried 100 times, but that 101st time may be the one. So you got to just keep it going, because you got, like, again, you got to keep in mind that this is your business. You're not doing this for someone else. You're doing it to build your business. So whatever it takes to build that business, you don't want to give up on it. You find ways of continuously going, and don't let it deter you from keeping that going. Um, you tried all those things, all those other things that you tried. So then you look at something else. Another thing you got to do is you reach out to your sphere of influence, and that's something I found that a lot of people don't do. Those people that's right there in their circle, they skip right on with them, and they're looking at all these other things that's going on out there. And those are the people that you really want to look at. You know, your sphere of influence. They will either do business with you, or they're going to refer business to you. So if you consistently stay in touch with them, you're going to get business at some point. So, so when I'm talking about your sphere, those are your past clients, your past customers, your friends, your family, any colleagues, or any others that you've met with. So anybody that you've actually cultivated a relationship with over the years, those are your sphere of influence. So you always want to keep in contact with them. Uh, I've actually heard people say, "Well, I don't want to sell my friends on working with me. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to make them work with me." So that's not really selling your friends or family to work with you. So if you truly feel like what you do in this business helps people and helps them to make the best possible financial or real estate decision that they can make for themselves and their family, then you be their resource that they know that they can count on. So what better resource that they can use than someone that they've already built a relationship with? So I don't think that's not selling yourself to them. That's being a trusted source for the right information, for the right guidance, and and giving them that expertise that you have as um, an agent. So you got to be that for the people you know. So if you look, and then you just call them up and stay on their mind, so you know that they continuously know that, hey, I got a friend over here or a family member over here that's actually an agent. Let me call that person up. Or continuously giving them information about what's going on in the market, so that when they get to that point that they really need that service from you, then they're going to call out and reach out to you. So that's not selling yourself to them. You're providing service to them, and that's providing value. And that's what drives business and cultivates that long-term relationship. Um, so yeah, that's
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I mean that's one thing I always say. I mean, everybody in your phone is a potential client. Like everybody have all these phone numbers in there, but like they don't utilize them properly. Like put those people in a database, start dripping on them, let them know about what's going on in the market. So then when it is time to sell or buy or whatever, like they should be thinking about you. So. Um, Love it, Marsha. Like I said, it's always great talking to you. I'm super excited about what you're doing and what you're accomplishing and what you've been able to make happen. I mean, I love your drive, your energy, in and of itself. Like if anybody wants to actually know more about what Marsha's doing to help other agents to be successful, definitely reach out to her. If you want to know about what I'm doing, like with both of us, we share and we just give, with asking nothing in return. But you can go to jameshmassey.com. You can book a schedule call with me, and I can tell you about my experience. But any departing words before we pop out of here, Marsha?
my departing words would be: don't give up, keep it going, keep educating yourself, keep getting all the tools and trainings that you can get, and um, just keep in mind that this is your business. You're an entrepreneur. You're doing this for yourself and your family. And one day, if you're feeling discouraged right now, don't listen. Like I said earlier, don't listen to the distractions and don't listen to the detractors. Just keep going.
Love it, love it. Drop the mic. Once again, we do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock, where we're interviewing an agent that's doing well in her area. Marsha, we appreciate you, and looking forward to hearing about some more of those goals that you accomplished. 4 under contract, just turned February. Hey, let's keep it going.
Right, keep going. That's my motto for the year.